Most producers are 100% in the pro AI camp, and other producers are 100% in the anti-AI camp. Some of us sit somewhere in the middle with changing and evolving perspectives. Today I'm going to be reacting to a mix engineer and producer named Colt, giving his changing and ever-evolving perspective on AI and how it's shifted over time. Make sure you stay tuned to the very end of this video because there's a ton of valuable information that you're going to need as a producer. Without further ado, let's get into it.
For about the past year or year and a half, I have been casually contemplating and planning for what is next for me, as in after music, because I have felt like I'm only going to be able to do this job for another 5 years, and it being incredibly optimistic, 10 years. Now, I've never told anyone this. I've never said this publicly. Only my very, very closest friends, a couple of my closest friends, and like my wife knows this. And I've recently changed my mind on this, and I want to get to that. But first I want to explain to you what I thought would probably happen. I had a conversation with a well-known, very successful mix engineer a year and a half or maybe even 2 years ago. We were talking on the phone, and he said that he got this song to mix from a very popular artist that you've probably heard of. He was mixing the song, and after he mixed the song, the producer called him and said, "Hey, what'd you think of those background vocals?" And this mix engineer was like, they sound like they were tuned kind of hard, but they're fine. And the producer says, "Those were not the artist singing those vocals. I sang those vocals, and then I trained an AI on the artist's a cappella vocal tracks that I had, and it turned my voice into his." And the mixer, who's a very, very good mixer, could not tell, or didn't realize, I should say. Now, this was a year and a half or 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, like the drop in my stomach of like, oh, it's coming, and it's coming really fast.
Yeah, that's the thing with platforms like Suno. You don't really know how good they are until you actually test it out and experiment with it. I tried it out a couple of times, and one of the times that I did try it out, I got some nice piano lines and I got some nice bass lines from it, and they just got me to thinking, this can kind of start to compete with some of these session musicians that I work with. Will I need my bass player as much? Will I need my piano player as much? Or could I just put what I have already there into the platform, generate some different variations of it, and then just plug it right into FL Studio, whatever DAW I'm using for the production, and I'm done. What would take me a couple of days, I just got done in like 10 minutes. So the same thing is holding true for producers, session vocalists. It's just impacting all different areas of the musical landscape. It's not just one area. Let's go ahead and get back into the video.
And so I started like thinking on this, like real hard, because the one thing that no one wants, I certainly don't want, and I don't want for any of you, but no one wants this, is to be blindsided with the end of their career and not realize it's coming. So I started spending like some real time thinking about this and contemplating this and trying to figure out what I thought was going to happen, where this is going to progress and lead to, and if it would take my job from me eventually. And where I landed after many months of contemplating this, and this may happen, is there will eventually be AI services where you will just upload all of your tracks for a whole song, all 70, 80, 200 tracks of your song. And then you'll have different profiles. You'll have the CLA profile, and you'll just hit a button, and this is what it would sound like if CLA mixed it. And this is what it would sound like if Serban mixed it. And this is what it would sound like if Spike mixed it. And this is what it would sound like if Colt mixed it. And you would just like preview these and then hit print. And this service would cost you whatever, $50 a month, even $100 a month. But it would be a premium subscription service in which mixers like myself or like a Serban or a CLA would train these AI algorithms. We would get paid. Probably not me, let's be honest, but the big mixers would get paid kind of crazy money to train algorithms on their tastes and on their moves, and then they would sell that package of data, and then you would be able to get the CLA mix or the Serban mix or fill in the blank.
Wow, I actually never thought of that. My perspective has been more on the beat maker, producer kind of side of things as opposed to mixing. What I'm kind of, forecasting would possibly happen is recording artists being able to do the thing with beats. Like, I want this type beat. We would need to move more so producers getting into creating like smaller project studios where artists are coming in, and if you are a beat maker, you have beats as a service along with recording, so that way they're getting like a total package, a total custom song package. One thing that I've noticed from recording multiple artists is that sometimes it's not just about recording the song in itself. Sometimes they want to be in the studio and actually spend time next to you and with you and kind of get away from the world. So it's kind of a therapeutic at times. So if you record, if you make beats, definitely don't be afraid that your job's going to be totally taken away, because sometimes people just want to pay hourly to kick it and have a good time, have fun, and express themselves. So let's go ahead and get back into the video.
And I just thought that that would be the end of my career when that happens. That you will no longer be able to mix for a living. Maybe the second that's available, because it'll be infinitely cheaper. It'll be damn near instantaneous, and it would give you access to at least an approximation of the best mixers in the world. And so I began planning casually, not going full steam ahead, but I began planning for what was next for me. What am I going to do after music? Now, I have no ambition to ever stop making music, because I would do this for free. It is absolutely my life's passion. But got to pay the bills. I've got to make sure that my family is fed and that we have a house. So I began taking some steps towards what's next. But then last night, literally last night, I'm in the shower. And again, I'm contemplating this. I'm taking a way too long of a shower. And I'm like, man, who's going to be the first one to do this? Who's going to be the first service? And who's going to be the first mix engineer to sell us all out? Who's going to be the first one to train an algorithm so that way it steals work from the rest of us? And then I got thinking about what other services, what could this not replace? Well, this can't really replace producing, because someone's got to actually set the microphone up and actually sing, and someone has to actually coach the singers and the guitar players. I think producing's pretty safe. Not completely safe, but pretty safe. The players are obviously very safe. I mean, yeah, we're getting to a place where AI is creating music from scratch, and that's a whole nother conversation that maybe I'll touch on in a future video. But like, if you're a guitar player, you're not going to let AI play guitar parts for you. And then I thought, what about mastering? Will AI replace mastering? Mastering engineers still going to have a job? And this is where the epiphany started to dawn on me while I'm in the shower. We've already had AI mastering for many years. The first one that was widely known and like in the public eye was called Landar. I don't know, it came out maybe 6 years ago at this point, and the whole industry just freaked out that mastering's over. You can no longer be a mastering engineer for a living. And it did very much work in this way. You upload your mix and you could have different profiles that you would preview. The top 40 profile, the hyped profile, the thick profile, the whatever. And you would literally just preview different things, and then you would print the one that you liked. And it was significantly more affordable than any mastering engineer. I think they were like $5 or $10 when they first started. But the whole industry was losing their minds, saying that mastering engineers were going to become obsolete because of this. But what's funny is I don't know a single mastering engineer that lost their job. I don't know any mastering engineers that threw in the towel because of this. I think it had almost zero impact on mastering engineers.
That's interesting. I still remember when Lander came out as well. I didn't think it was going to take over mastering. I just viewed it as an alternative, especially for like maybe indie artists or people on a budget and they just want to get things just mastered there online. Funny enough, one of the only mastering engineers I ever interacted with was a mastering engineer for recording artists that I was working with. The indie artist didn't stop working with this mastering engineer. He didn't want to go to Lander. He enjoyed the relationship that he had with his mastering engineer. That's the thing with technology and human behavior. We could sit back and think in theory something's going to totally take over, but that human behavior will just totally contradict it. So with all the AI changes and AI platforms and all the new options that we have coming out, something could come out, be big, everybody get really scared of it, and then before we know it, nobody really adopts it. And then it can even be confusing to us why we're not adopting this thing that has so much quality and that has a lower price point. We we just don't mess with it. We rather mess with that. So let's go ahead and get back into the video.
And I know for me personally, I master more songs now than I ever have, even though there are dozens of these online AI mastering services available. And then I thought, well, why is that? Why didn't that decimate mastering engineers' careers? And this is what led me to change my mind on how AI is going to affect our careers. Now, this is a long, deep conversation, so I'm trying to keep this surface level and kind of focus on mixing engineers. There's an enormous amount of things about AI in music that I think are harmful for the music industry, and there's a bunch of aspects to it that, as long as it's harnessed right, can be very, very positive for the music industry. But for the scope of this video, we're talking about mixing. And so I thought, why didn't this decimate mastering engineers' careers? And I realized something. It's because of human nature. It's because humans like control. I think this is something that we're really underestimating when it comes to the impact that AI will have on the music industry, on any artistic industry. Let me give you an example. I have, and this is a common funny story that you'll hear a bunch of mix engineers talk about. The quantity of times that I have turned in a mix and an A&R at a label, or the artist themselves, or the artist manager who's not even involved in the process is like, yeah, okay, could you just turn that hi-hat up a quarter dB? Just turn the hi-hat up a quarter dB. And like, you can't even hear a quarter dB in your Apple earbuds that you're listening to in your car. You literally can't even hear that. They do this, people do this like on the regular. Like with most songs, people will make requests that are either unnecessary or irrelevant, or that they literally can't even hear or tell the difference because they want to feel important. They want to feel included. They want to feel needed.
Yes, any producer out there or a mixer who those revisions, man, it's always something. You know, there's a bit of psychology when it comes to working with recording artists and mixing and things like that. There's always going to be those little irrational parts of ourselves that want to do something for the sake of doing it. And, you know, that can also help us be safe as AI changes, because there can be an aspect of the process that AI can't do. And it could be too perfect, too correct. And we want things to be incorrect so we can fix it. Like when we're making beats, sometimes we like the fact that our kicks are a little too soft, and then we can start to clip it. You know, I get a real nice sense of satisfaction if I have some nice drums and I put it in a drum bus and then I clip it and then it just starts punching harder. It's like, yes, I actually control that. I made that sound that much better. And if I just clicked it and then AI did it for me, I'd be pretty disappointed. Like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. Let's go ahead and get back into the video.
They want to feel needed. And I thought that's really interesting, because you know what you lose when you start having an AI mix your song? You know what you will lose, I should say, is your ability to control exactly what's happening. Like, will we ever get to the point where you could dump all your tracks into an AI and then choose the Serban profile to mix your song, and then also do mix revisions? 10 mix revisions, hi-hat up a quarter dB, vocal effects down a half dB, change the delay on the vocal from an eighth note delay to an eighth dotted delay. Like some of the mixes that I do, I will get, most of the time it's usually 3 or 4 revisions. Sometimes it's 15. So human nature, people's want or need to be involved, to feel important, and to have control. But also, we've already been down this road. AI mastering didn't affect anybody. Now, yes, there are probably some lower level like demo mixing engineers and demo masters or whatever. Like, you used to be able to have an entire mixing career just mixing demos. That was a thing that used to happen. That is no longer the case, but it's not because AI stole it, it's because track guys stole it. The guys and girls doing the demos decided to just mix it for themselves. Because mixing, this is another aspect of it, mixing is the sexiest part of the whole process. Everyone wants to be a mix engineer. All the producers want to be mix engineers. And so the most desirable, arguably funnest part of the entire process, the part of the process that the biggest pool of people aspire to be able to do just this thing, we're just going to turn all that over to AI? I don't think so. I don't think we will.
Yes, everybody wants to mix. You guys want to wake up when you want, set aside time when you want, and just mix instead of being in the trenches, recording people, dealing with the different personalities, dealing with the different energies and attitudes and things like that. So, you know, it takes some patience to actually work with people in person, do multiple takes over and over again. And I personally feel like you have to have a certain personality type to sit there in the studio and do those multiple takes over and over and over again and, you know, comp them together. But shout out to all the producers and all the engineers out there who work with recording artists. Let's get back into the video.
I don't think we will. And this was a really, really welcome epiphany to me, because the track record of mastering, AI mastering, the understanding of human nature and how humans operate and how creative humans operate and how they want to be involved and have control over the process, even a process they have nothing to do with. AI mixing is not going to take our jobs. And I breathed an enormous sigh of relief when this finally fully dawned on me. Now, yes, there's a whole bunch of arguments to be made about like AI music in general taking money away from real artists. There's a whole argument to be made about, you know, Spotify pushing AI artists and music so that way they can keep a bigger percentage of their revenue. There's probably an argument to be made for labels starting to create their own AI music so that way they can just make all the money and not pay an artist anything. There's a lot of arguments for the negative impact that AI will have on the music industry. But for me personally, for the past year and a half, I've been trying to figure out how to move forward, as in I won't be able to mix anymore. And now I'm going to say 98% confident that that won't be the case. If you would have asked me 2 days ago, I would have said it's a 75% chance that I'm out of a job in 10 years. Now I think it's a 95% chance that I'm going to be just fine. And you will too.
There's so much that's constantly changing. You know, a lot of us don't want to come off as fence straddlers. Like, are you pro anti-AI? Are you pro AI? Are you anti-AI? No one wants to be a fence straddler, but at the same time, there's so much information that's constantly coming at us. The landscape is constantly changing. It's easy to just jump out the window in one camp and then just be stuck there. But some of us like to just get a lot of information, take on multiple perspectives, understand the different nuances when it comes to different areas of music, mix engineers, beat makers, mastering engineers, independent musicians. All of us have a different viewpoint when it comes to AI. So we're constantly just culminating all that information together and coming to conclusions as the information starts to change and adapt. So I definitely enjoyed this video. Really good perspective, really good understanding. Hey, so guys, please, in the comments, let me know, producers, engineers, independent recording artists, do you breathe a sigh of relief because you feel like there's an aspect of the human condition, of human behavior that's going to still remain, that's going to pull the audience and pull real people to still dealing with you, still dealing with certain aspects of your role in the music game? Please let me know in the comments. It's important that we continue this dialogue and to continue exchanging information. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com, where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.